Namaste, beloved community. Hello, and welcome to Insightful Conversations with Dawna. That's me. I am so excited for today as I have a beautiful returning guest on, Lori Ellis, who is an author, a personal trainer, a fitness, health, wellness guru, hydration advocate. Lori has so much vast knowledge of all of that. And she is a living example of optimal health and wellness and reverse aging. When you give your body what it needs, how you can help it heal, and how you can then reverse the aging process. And so without further ado, I want to welcome Lori Ellis on to the show. Hello.
Hello. So good to see your beautiful face.
Good to see yours. I just love, I love your book, Fit Healthy Free Life. If you don't know how to find that, go look on Amazon, and you can find it. Lori's face is on it. On the description of the show today, I posted a picture of it. So it's a fabulous book full of so much information, not just about diet. It's about so much more. The whole mind, body, spirit connection. And let's just briefly give people a history of how you got into your passion of health and wellness, because you weren't always into this.
Yeah, very true. First of all, thank you for having me. I just am having so much fun. I love your show. I love what you do. Your audience is amazing. So I just want to thank you for having me, and for everybody here that's watching and who will be watching the replay. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yes. So my 20s and early 30s, I was not well. I was not healthy. I did not grow up in a health conscious household. We didn't talk about health, nutrition, or fitness. It wasn't that way. I didn't learn anything in school or at home. Long story, very short. The story I've written in the book, I share that. So if anybody wants the book, like Dawna said, it's available on Amazon right now. There are only 6 left. I'm doing some additions. So connect with me after this, and I'll let you know when, and maybe we can do this again when it's being re-released with some of the additions. But it will be the same book, but there are 6 still available anyway. So yes, my whole story is in the book, but I'll keep it super short for this live. I ended up with an inflammatory condition from not understanding health and wellness. I didn't know how to eat healthy. I didn't understand hydration. I didn't understand exercise, movement, living a positive lifestyle, really all of the things that we know we need to do now for whole life wellness, which is what I call, true wellness is the whole life, the whole being, not just the physical body, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. All of this becomes, who we are as a being. And so that's what I've been teaching for almost 20 years now. Well, learning for about 22 years, teaching for about 15 years. And that's what ended up becoming the book, is my 20-year experience from dealing with that inflammatory condition. So I ended up with an inflammatory condition, illness that went on for many years, caused me a lot of pain, a lot of stress and anxiety. As anybody who has dealt with chronic pain or illness or fatigue, from whatever the cause, which the root cause of everything that is showing up in symptoms in the body is inflammation. So what are the contributors to inflammation? And that's what I go in depth with my book. And those are the things I had to figure out, because at the age of 32, I had 2 young children at home. I had a major abdominal surgery to remove a tumor from an ovary. And then benign, thankfully. And then the next year I ended up with another major surgery. So in 2 years, at the age of 32 and 33, I had 2 major surgeries. And that was what that was what ended up from years of this inflammation in my body. And I didn't at that point still know what the cause was, but that was the biggest gift. So that was a gift in my life, because it was that second surgery when I woke up in the recovery room. I knew I was being told, this is a gift in your life. You are now going to spend the rest of your life learning about this miraculous creation we call the body, that houses our soul, that allows our soul to walk through this physical existence while we're here. And you're going to learn, this is what I heard from God. I felt it in my spirit. You're going to learn as much as you can, and you're going to spend the rest of your life teaching what you learn as you learn, and helping other people to awaken to the connection to their physical body, and the fact that what we put in our body and on our body, how we think, how we move, what we allow ourselves to listen to, how we start our day, how we end our day, who we are, connecting with, who we're communicating with, all of the above is what is creating our whole being, and whether we are well. And so that's really, in a nutshell, what my experience has been about, and why I am where I am now. So 20 years ago, I'm 54 now. 21, 22 years ago, I was dealing with the culmination of this inflammatory condition overtaking my physical body, and I knew in that moment. So that was my moment of, okay, what I'm doing is not working, right? What I'm doing apparently is not working, because I have these issues going on. Where am I going to be in 20 years if I don't make any changes? If I don't awaken to what I'm doing now and learn and figure out what this body needs. And then I learned that it was more than that, right? So that's been the 20 years of my, so far, right? Our entire life is learning and awakening and understanding all of the reasons why we're here, and what we're supposed to do and share and be and give while we're here. So I'm still, in the midst of that. But 20 years later, I am healthier than I've ever been, stronger than I've ever been, more lean muscle, less body fat, more energy, and it's a continuous process. Mm-hmm. So this is really where my message is now is, yes, I went through that in my 20s and 30s. I was on every diet you can imagine. I couldn't lose weight. My skin was a mess. I had headaches. I was tired. And at the very end of that, when my kids were little, I can remember walking in the mall with my daughter when she was 3, and I had to sit down because I was in so much pain and I was so tired. And those moments, when we have those moments of, this is not okay, we need to listen to that. Being reactive. We're so busy just waiting for things to show up. My message is, we don't have to get to where I was. Right. I want to help people know that we don't have to get there. If you are there, there's hope. It's okay. It's not too late. You're not too far gone. Whatever it is you might be dealing with, if it's mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, they're all connected. Mm-hmm. And every part of our whole self is part of our wellness. And those are all of the tools, and those are all of the different aspects that we have to be open to, and we have to be proactive with. And I have a couple of things I want to read from the book, but I want to stop talking and let you talk.
No. I was just going to say, I love that. I love that reminder that everything that we allow to enter our body, and it's not just our physical body, our emotional, our spiritual, our energetic body, everything that we allow to enter from, as you said, what we allow to play sound-wise, whether we're watching TV or listening to music or a podcast or whatever, or listening to other people talk, it all is energy. Our food, our water, our everything that we put in our body, if we take time to listen to our body, to be mindful, and I think that that's really the key from what I'm getting from your story, is you learned how to become mindful about all of those things and really connect the cause and effect oh, if I listen to this toxic negativity, I'm not in a very good mood. And then I'm not digesting my food as well. And then I'm not feeling like I want to go work out or go for a walk or whatever, But if I do go for that walk, I feel better. If I do drink water instead of soda, I feel better. If I do eat that living food versus processed, I feel better. It's that mindfulness. And so many times, and I know you've seen this, and this is the beauty of coming across you and getting to know you, is we really aligned in a lot of ways, and that was exciting to meet you, and then to hear everything that you have to say and all your experience, because you look amazing, your energy is amazing, and it's, and you look younger today than when I met you 5 years ago. So it's like, okay, we know that you have to be doing something right in order for that to be happening. So yes, please continue with your book, because it's a phenomenal book. And
thank you so much. And thank you for the compliment, and everything you said to me is exactly true for you as well. So I know you and I agree on so many things, and we do so many of the same things for not just our physical health, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally as well. And so, yes, absolutely. Everything you said, wonderful, amazing. When I was in meditation and prayer this morning, asking what, there's so much to talk about, right? Mm-hmm. You and I could do this every day for an
I know.
hour, and probably for years, and we would still love our conversation so much. But I was like, what do we really need to talk about? What am I supposed to share today? That was my question to God, to the universe, asking, like, what needs to happen today? And this is what I feel. I want to talk about the awakening of our cells, our cellular health. Mm-hmm. We're living high frequency beings, but when we eat dead food and drink dead water, when we're trying to detox and have these biochemical cellular functions and reactions, food, dead water, if we're bringing in, information that's negative, that's, condescending, if we're around negative people, all of that, that is all like dead versus living, right? So if we're doing that, it's literally like unplugging the vacuum cleaner, right, and just moving it around on the carpet, and nothing is being pulled out. Nothing is happening because the power is shut off. So we need to spend as much time awakening the cells of the body as we do awakening our soul to hear our inner guidance. And that's what came to me today when I was asking, what do we need to talk about? Yes. So what are we drinking? So I've got my water right now that has a living aspect to it. Very important. We can talk about that. That probably will take a whole nother hour. And then, I've got my greens. I've got my greens, and I have, and then what I'm going to be eating, and how I spent my morning, how I woke up, what did I eat, my brain, how did I, did I reconnect spiritually with my source, with myself, with my inner being, who am I going to spend time with today? All of those things. But if it's okay, I'd like to read a couple of things from the book.
Absolutely. Please.
Is that okay?
You bet.
So the first thing I want to read is, and this is part of that, having that cellular connection. Like, we have cells in the body, we have our spirit, right? We have our brain, we have all these ways we communicate with ourselves and with the world and with each other, right? And we're either coming from, our brain, which we know is a record of our past, which is just downloaded information, or we're coming from our heart and our soul and listening to our spirit guide us. And that is a whole other way of communicating, right? And we can, go into depth that way too. But everything is about being in that awareness. And that was the gift of me going through that inflammatory illness, having that awareness of what I don't want, the clarity on that second surgery 2 years in a row with 9 staples in my belly and hundreds of internal stitches, and going, okay, now what am I going to do? Right? Having that knowing and that awareness on that day 21 years ago, like I remember like it was yesterday, and saying to myself, this is not what I want. This is not what I was created for. I'm supposed to be energetic, youthful, enjoying raising my children, being full of energy and consciously excited about my passion and my purpose in life. I knew that. I wasn't there. I didn't know what that was, but I knew that that's what I was supposed to be. So that was me going, I'm going to proactively now make the changes necessary to get away from where I am, which is not where I want to be, to get to where I do want to be the mother I want to be the person I want to be the soul on this planet I know I'm here to be, and do the things, give the things I know I'm supposed to give. And it wasn't going to happen in that sick body that I was in. The cells of my body were not awake. They were not functioning at their highest level, at their most energetic level. I didn't know. I wasn't giving them the tools they need. But in order to be able to do that, we have to have that awareness. We have to have that moment of, okay, what am I going to do? What am I willing to learn? Right? And it's a different comfort zone. It was walking away from what I knew, right? And what was normal for me. So I want to read this because this is exactly what we need to, I think we all need to hear and remind ourselves. You must find the way to be proactive and get out in front of your life instead of reacting to everything happening around you. You must learn how to create your schedule instead of letting it fill in through the demands of other people. You must find the way to be in charge of your own health now, so you don't find yourself falling into the sick funnel later. Freedom and fulfillment come from leading the way in your life, not following. You get to decide. You get to make the choices affecting your wellness and your fitness. And then I'm going to jump forward to page 7. We've sadly become conditioned to live reactively to the symptoms of inflammation presenting it to our bodies, instead of living a proactive lifestyle of giving our bodies the foundational tools necessary to prevent toxic overload and inflammatory conditions and diseases. Because that's where I was. I was in that place of toxic overload. We live in a society in which we unfortunately gather much of our information through advertisements, commercials, the marketing hype of products by big corporations, fast food, processed food companies, whose focus is their profit margin, not our health and wellness. We've forgotten how to listen to our own bodies.
Right.
That little voice, that little nudging, and our own internal wisdom. So reconnecting to that inner guidance, making sure that connection is strong to our innate intuition and our knowing. I didn't know what to do, but I knew that it was going to change, and I knew something was going to be different if I listened. And then to go home and 6 weeks recover, of that second major surgery. I was so excited. I was not depressed, sad about what happened to me. I was excited because I knew it was the foundation for me to launch my entirely new life of where I knew I was supposed to be. It was my purpose was revealed to me in that moment. So we're sometimes going through something that can seem devastating, because I was 33 and I had 2 little kids at home, and I had a full radical complete hysterectomy. And I went home going, I know that didn't solve the problem of what's causing me all of my pain and all of my everything that was going on. It was inflammation at the root, right? I knew intuitively it didn't solve it. I didn't know how I was going to solve it, but now I was going home with an entirely new problem at 33, no hormones, and I had to figure that out, right? And so that became, but again, instead of being upset about it, I was so thankful, because I knew that was an awakening for me to the life. And I think you can see how excited I am talking about this.
Yes.
Because back then, 20 years ago, here's the contrast. I was living on diet soda. I was dieting. I was, using all kinds of over-the-counter medications. I was, all of the things in reactive mode, right? I wasn't putting in the healthy things. I was in reactive mode to the symptoms showing up and just going about that cycle. And 20 years later, here I am, healthier than ever, on no medications. This is all my own hair, right? Like my skin is, and that's not to be bragging in any way, shape, or form. That's to say that what we put in the body at the cellular level is going to show up outwardly, and not just in the physical sense, but in how we feel and how we wake up in the morning, and how, you know, how we not react, but how we are responding to things in our life, and what are we listening to, and what are we doing, and what are we you know, focusing on for every day in our just our purpose. Because I truly believe that everyone has within them a passion and a purpose. And when our cells of our body are functioning at the frequency that they were created to function, the same way that we spiritually want to be functioning in that high frequency, we want to be connected and in that high frequency, in that positive energy, in that place of creating, of gratitude, of thankfulness, of generosity, of what are we here to give? What are we here to share? So much wells up within us, you know, that we can barely even keep it quiet, because it's what our soul is here to share. But that can be, again, back to the whole vacuum analogy. If you don't plug your vacuum in, it will go through the motions, but it won't actively be doing what it was meant to do. So I think of that the same as the body. If the cells of the body are smothered, are asleep, that would be a really great way to look at it. Asleep, because they run on an electric frequency. 20 years ago, the cells of my body were going through the motions. They weren't plugged in. They were not plugged in, right? But when I started to give my body, so I went back to school. You know, I closed the business I had at the time. I had a home jewelry business. I closed it. I went back to school. I found, it was such a great divine connection to find this holistic wellness center where I went and took classes and interned, you know, under amazing holistic practitioners, and got to learn so much and got to watch what the physical body is capable of doing. And this was is still in place, a spiritual place connecting mind, body, spirit, heart. And that's so important, because that's what I call the whole wellness picture. And so without the physical body, so I'll say this again, this is what I always say, your body's not who you are, but it houses who you are. Your spirit, your soul, your heart, that is who you are. That is who we are. We are energy, right? We are here to be doing so much. And if we allow the physical body to become fatigued, sick, overrun with inflammation,
burdened,
then the cells of the body will struggle. And when the cells of the body are not on that high frequency that our spirit is, we will be missing some part of the connection. And so that's taking away from the full purpose and passion that we're here to be and to do. When we get worried about what other people think of us, when we get worried, so we're focused on the physical, when we get worried about, you know, other people's reactions, and all of those things are very normal and they happen, right, to all of us. But that emotional, mental, physical connection, when we're all running on this highest, most positive frequency, like those things fall away. And that's when you're in the zone. That's when you're truly connected. And then you're not worried about reactions. You're only worried about what you're here. Your soul is here to share. And there's so much empowerment in that. And so having those pieces in place. So that's where a lot of the book comes in, is let's get the physical cellular health to be vibrating on that highest frequency. And vibrating isn't the right word, functioning, you know, running on that highest frequency. Your cells have electrical power. A thought is an electrical impulse. If you think about, I'm going to move my arm across my body. I thought about it and my arm did it, right? That is electricity running down my spine to my arm. Digestion runs on an automatic. Everything is
Lori
electrical.
Froze.
Oh, did I?
I understand what she's saying, though. And she said if she freezes, she has poor internet connection there in South Dakota, that she will come back on, call back in if she needs to, that sort of thing. But yes, we are electrical beings, and everything is energy, and it tends to have an electrical current to it, which is why, you can touch a chair and get an electrical shock. And it's important that we are doing things to keep our electrical charge at the right frequency. You can see Lori there on YouTube. Okay, I wonder why she's not on here. Huh.
Can you hear me too?
Angel, is she still talking on YouTube?
Angel, can you hear me? I can see the comments, and I can see myself. And I can see Dawna, and I can hear Dawna.
Maybe I'll pull it up.
Am I back?
Sorry, I don't want to talk over her if she's still talking on YouTube. Let me see.
Okay, Angel can hear us both.
Okay, she can hear both.
So I think.
Let's try this again. Again. Oh, Lori, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, Lori, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. There's going to be a background.
So now
I don't know how to do
delay.
this. Let me try this again. Mercury retrograde. Well, I'm sorry. Sorry, people. Let me try this again, see if I can reboot and get Lori back on completely. Because what she was saying is so good and so important, and I want you to hear all of it. So let me try this again and see if I can get Lori back on. I'm not sure why it was playing on YouTube, but not on here. So give me just a moment and I will be back on. Let's see. There we go. Lori, are you back?
Yay!
Yay! Okay, thanks. Thank you, everyone, for staying tuned. Sorry about that. We still have Mercury retrograde for another, well, really, we're going to feel it till the end of the month. It goes direct on the 18th, but we have the shadow period and really till the end of the month. So I apologize for that. Not sure what happened. Apparently you were still talking on YouTube and it was still streaming there, but it wasn't here. So I didn't know that. So then we were talking over each other. So yeah, I'm glad that Angel let me know that you were still going on YouTube, and I don't know why you were frozen here, but hopefully we'll be good.
Yeah, I don't know either. My Wi-Fi was still up, so I wasn't sure what I should do on my end. And there is kind of a delay, so I don't know. Thank you, Angel, for communicating that. So yes, so that is really probably my most prominent message right now, is having that moment of decision, having that moment of clarity of where am I in my life feeling like I'm not as connected, I'm not feeling as much vitality, as much energy. And we're not going to every minute of every day. We know
Right.
that. But having that awareness in that moment, so that don't slip back into, because in your brain, right, electrical impulses are happening, the neurosynaptic networks connections are all there, and the old ones are still there. My old neurosynaptic network connections and loops of thought are still there, because the brain is like a computer download program, right? It's like your hard drive. And I have even a chapter in my book about that. It's a hard drive where everything is stored, and it has its purpose. Your brain is, obviously for calculating things and remembering things, and for keeping you safe. It's like a survival. It's very important. But to go to your brain hoping to find something new, that's like turning off your Wi-Fi and expecting to be able to access the internet. Can't do it, right? That's where our heart, our soul, our spiritual connection, that's your Wi-Fi, right? That's where we're going to go to be able to feel guided to what's my next step, what's my next. I didn't know where my life was going when I made the decision that I needed to make changes. I just knew that had to happen, and I followed that. So that's really my biggest message, is we have a physical body. It's not who we are, but it houses who we are. Your spirit, your soul, your heart, that's who you are. But without a healthy physical body with which to carry your soul through this physical existence, you may not be able to fully live out your passion and your purpose, because you may be distracted, as I was 20 years ago, with pain, with fatigue, with worry. What's going on with my body? What's going to happen to my kids if I don't get better? What's going to happen if I don't wake up from the surgery? Your brain's going to come up with all these things to worry about when we're distracted with a sick body, right? And so without a healthy physical body with which to carry us through this physical existence, we may not be able to fully live out our true passion, our soul's purpose. And we don't want to wait until we get to the end of our life to wonder, did I live out my full purpose? I read that part of the book last time. That is the most powerful thing to think about every day, not in a morbid way, not in a fearful way, but in an empowered way, that I'm here today. I have a divine purpose. There's a message coming through to me today. What is it? What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to be? How can I? And then it becomes, oh, I have to go. It becomes not, I have to go to the gym, or I have to work out, or I have to, get my greens in. I have to eat my vegetables. I have to make sure I'm getting nutrition in, or I have to learn about this, right? Or I have to go to the store. It's not I have to, it's I get to be a good host of this physical body. I get to be a good steward of this gift of creation of my physical body that's made up of trillions of cells. Brain cells, heart cells, eye cells, hair cells, skin cells, bone cells, liver cells. Everything is cellular. Everything gets down to the point where it's cells. And then you know what they find? When they even get down further from the cellular to the atoms, they find energy. Everything's energy. Just like you said, Dawna, everything is energetic. So what are we consuming? Does it have energy, or is it dead?
Right.
What is the water we're consuming? Is it from a bottle? Is it sitting in pipes? Is it sitting in containers? Has it been stripped of everything through some of the filtration processes that are just, taking everything out? Filtration is important, but there's good and bad with that too. Good and bad food. There's healthy and unhealthy food. There's healthy and unhealthy thoughts. There's healthy and unhealthy water. There's healthy and unhealthy supplements and medications, and on and on and on. We need to be the deciding factor. We need to be discerning. We need to love our purpose on this planet so much that we care for the physical vehicle that is carrying our soul through this life. And when we care that much, we'll want to know. We'll, just like you want to know what kind of oil to put in your car because you don't want your car engine to crash. You don't want your car engine to not crash. That's not to break down, right? It's the same thing. And so that's been my passion. Now, not everybody is going to have that passion, right? And so, you know, that's why I've written the book that I've written, and that's why I do what I do, so that I can share what I believe I'm here to learn, live, walk, and talk and share. And so, yeah, so that's really my biggest message today and every day in the general sense. And then, of course, that is simple to say that, not easy to do.
Right. Right. It's a mindset. It's changing your mindset. You know, I've had a number of people that I've talked to over the years that are like, how can you give up dairy? How can you give up sugar? How can you give up, you know, whatever it is? And it's, for me, I mean, I found out a few years ago, 5, I think now, that I was allergic to eggs. And people are like, wow, how can you live without eggs? Well, to me, to my body, it's a poison. And that's how I have to look at, or that's how I choose to look at the things that don't serve my body. I love my body. And if I, you know, think about if you have a child or a grandchild or a niece or nephew, that this little kid that you just adore, do you really want to give them poison? Do you really want to give them something that's going to harm their body and make it harder for them as they grow up to either focus in school, to avoid diabetes, to, I mean, so many things? No, you wouldn't intentionally harm a child, right? Yes, Leslie, EFT does help for sure. There's lots of positive things that you can do, neuro-linguistic programming with the brain, and EFT, EMDR. There's a lot of different things to help our bodies clear. And that starts with our mind typically. So yeah, it's that focus of how are you viewing something, because that has a lot to do with how your body's going to receive something. But if it's causing inflammation in your body, and I know people that something as healthy as broccoli causes inflammation in their body reacts to it. So that's why it's so important to understand your personal body. Your body is different than my body, is different than Lori's body. And what works for her, what works for me, what works for you is going to be a little bit different, because we are unique. Our cells are unique. Our DNA structure is unique. Our heritage is unique. And so what we are susceptible to have inflammation from is unique, with the exception of something like sugar. Sugar is extremely acidic and is going to produce inflammation in pretty much everyone. I also wanted to share real quick. I saw a report just before we came on today that they are finding plastic particles in newborn babies' poop. Is that scary? And we know that that comes probably from the moms drinking out of plastics, because there's plastic particles in any drink that is in a plastic bottle. There's going to be some plastic particles, and you really don't want to consume that. Your body does not know how to metabolize and get rid of the plastics, and it causes inflammation, right?
Not to mention there are disrupting, which means hormone disrupting chemicals, right, as well as the carcinogens, as well as the plastic just being in your body. Plastic is made up of many, many neurotoxic chemicals, and neurotoxic meaning affecting the entire nervous system. right? So when we look at, so my book is all about reducing the inflammatory contributors and then introducing, I call it building your wellness from the foundation up and the inside out. What does the body need to survive? What is it? What are the elements that are necessary for the body to function well? The most, right, being the biggest foundation. What is our body made up of? Water. Most people are not drinking enough water. Back when I was sick, I wasn't raised drinking water. We were allowed to have soda and juices and whatever we wanted, right? And if it was liquid, it was considered hydrating. That's not true.
Right.
And the fact is, not all water is hydrating us anymore.
No.
We live in a very challenging world at this point where we have water that's not hydrating, that's actually contaminating and causing plastic toxicity and chemical toxicity, right? With all the things that are in tap water, all the things that are in bottled water, the toxins that are seeping from the plastics from soda bottles, from juice bottles, anything that's in a plastic container is going to be releasing toxins into whatever's in there, especially if it's heated, and we don't know if they're stored in heated warehouses. We know that most plastic bottles of water are sitting in a warehouse for 3 years before they're even put on a truck and taken to, and I don't remember the source of that, but I read that. And even if it's 3 weeks, right, that's too long. So drinking water directly from a source in the earth is what we were supposed to do. Like I always say, as close to nature as possible. Well, I don't have one of those beautiful mountain springs in my backyard to drink from. I wouldn't drink from a spring near me anyway. It's probably going to be contaminated with who knows what, right? So we know we live in a world where we have to be filtering our water. But what I didn't know until 7.5 years ago was that there is a way to actually restructure the water the way that it's supposed to be in nature.
Right.
And when I found that made, I mean, that's the reason you and I met, was because of learning about a technology that could literally restructure water, recreating the way that, and I found out that we could recreate the way the earth makes water. I'm all in for that because I want to eat directly from the earth as much as possible, right? I want to, as close to nature as possible is the key. That's harder and harder these days, right? We live in cities, where I live now. When I was in California, I was closer to nature because I could go and, go to the farm and get the produce, right? Here, in fact, in California, I lived in an orchard. I could go out my backyard and pick the avocado and pick the orange. Well, that was fantastic. I don't have that up here. Things are trucked up here from, where I am in South Dakota. I don't know how long they've been on the truck. I don't know where they came from. I don't know what happened to them. Most things are picked before they're ripe. So when I talk about living water, living nutrition, I'm talking about what are the properties in that which we are consuming that have actual living properties to help our cellular health, to give our cells what they need to maintain that high electrical, high energetic frequency that they're supposed to have, right? So that we stay plugged in, because we can measure that. We can measure that in water. We can measure that in food. We can literally measure the electrical, the power, the voltage, let's use that word, really measure the voltage in what we're consuming. Now in foods, I'm talking about things that are raw fruits and vegetables primarily, nuts and seeds and beans and things like that, because the living properties in those foods that your body's cells are going to benefit from are things like enzymes. I have an entire chapter in my book about enzymes and what they are and why they're important. Your gut biome, that's big these days. People are finally understanding that our gut health that has been so deadened and so dismantled by the dead food, the processed food, the processed waters and liquids. Yeah, it's been dismantled. And that is directly connected to our brain health, to our entire body, right? So again, wellness being the complete being and the connection of all of the parts. I look at it like a great big puzzle picture. Think of a picture of yourself made up of puzzle pieces. And all those puzzle pieces, like you so perfectly said, are unique and customized to you. And I'm different and you're different. And we all have different ways we were raised. We have different genetic predispositions, different disease markers that may or may not turn on due to the inflammatory triggers, all of those things. However, every human body is still over 75% water, or is supposed to be. So every human body, without having enough hydration, we're already, behind. We're already behind. We're not going to be able to absorb the nutrition. We're not going to be able to detoxify efficiently. We're not going to be able to, the cells of the body are simply not going to be able to carry everything out. You have 100,000 miles of blood, including arteries, veins, and capillaries. Well, think about dehydrated blood. Okay. Say you're not drinking enough water. Right. And I talk about how much, and I give you a formula in the book. Say you're drinking water that's carrying contaminants into your body, or it's not absorbing. So you're drinking it, but it's not actually getting in the body the way that it should. If it's not the right molecular structure, if it's too big, it simply may not be able to be absorbed effectively. So you may not be getting as much of it. Think about your blood, which is supposed to be about 85 to 90% water. What if your blood is dehydrated? What does that mean? It means it's thickened. It's going to be thickened. That makes sense, right? Yeah. So if it's thicker, is it going to be able to get to those microscopic capillaries? Is it going to be able to get through those tiny pathways in the vascular system? What if the vascular system is inflamed, right? We know we need something called vasodilation, which means expansion of arterial pathways for the blood to actually flow efficiently. I know that this is a lot of information, but these are the things that the education is so important to know your body enough to know, okay, I know I need to be able to be hydrated because this person on this video I watched said I have 100,000 miles of blood vessels. Well, that's a lot. So I better have hydrated blood to be able to get where it needs to go, right? In my fitness education, I teach my clients that their knees and shoulders, right? All the joints are made up of connective tissue, tendons, ligaments, cartilage. This is tissue that has very little blood supply as it is. And we have synovial fluid that's supposed to be in the joints. If we have joint pain, first thing we need to do is go back to, okay, what does the body need? Are we drinking enough water? Are we getting the blood flow to those tissues to keep them flexible, to keep them fluid enough, to surround them with the fluid that they need so that we don't have friction breakdown that happens with dehydration? So are we drinking enough water? And then what kind of water are we drinking? Then let's start looking at the nutrition. Is what we're eating containing living enzymes, fiber, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, antioxidants, right? Our water is supposed to have antioxidants, but water that's dead doesn't have that. In fact, it's actually oxidizing. And if water is oxidizing and if food is oxidizing, that means it's actually damaging your cellular health. Every single one of your cells should be able to fight off oxidation with enough antioxidant power. Those are the tools we need to provide. That's the tip of the iceberg, right? So this is, again, a conversation you and I could have every day for an hour a day that continues. This is where my passion is, because when your cells wake up, when you start giving your body those things and we stop, here's a statement that's super important, I think, for everyone to hear that might be feeling a little bit of defensiveness maybe, or because humans in general are I was that way. I don't want to give that up. I don't want to change that. Don't tell me I need to give that up, even if it's causing influence. You're right. Like, we argue and defend the very things that got us sometimes to where we are.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And when we can release that, just release it. Just be like, no, I am here to learn. I'm here to learn. I'm here to just grow, and I want to be changing, and I want to be moving forward, and I want to be expanding. Like, I love that. And that means I get to do these new things. And when I get to give my body something healthy, sometimes I'll put my hand over my liver and I'll sweet liver. And I say, yeah, I just gave you some good stuff today. Thank you for detoxing me all day long. Thank you for what you do. I love my liver. I talk to my heart. I talk to my lungs, right? Like, it's so important. Tell them you're giving them good things. This is you. This is this vehicle that houses your soul, that allows your soul to walk this planet while you're here. That's a gift.
It is. And it's important that we love and appreciate our body like it's one of our really good friends, because our body will respond. You know, how many people are like, oh, I can't lose weight. Oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't work out like that. I can't, okay, well, yeah, if you keep saying I can't, you're right. But go back and look at what are you putting in your body. Maybe if you cut out the ice cream every night, go down to every other night to begin with, and then try to reduce it from there, and try to go on a walk and see. You got to start slow. When people remove toxic things, because they're toxic, and sugar is toxic. It's one of the most toxic things. And soda is one of the most acidic things. It's just above stomach acid or battery acid. It's not. It may taste good, but it's got cancer-causing coloring dyes in it, and it is so harmful to the body. So when you are putting toxic things into your body, whether that's thoughts, whether that's other people talking to you negatively, whether you're listening to TV and all you hear is a bunch of negative, toxic information that is trying to spur you to be fearful and angry and hateful, you make it really, really hard on your body to have optimal health. You can have optimal health and wellness. Both Lori and I are living examples of people that had really heavy inflammation in their bodies, sick, and a lot of pain. And we both separately didn't know each other back then, went back to school to study holistic nutrition and health and wellness and the body, to understand, because neither one of us were getting the responses that we wanted. Lori didn't want to have more surgeries. I didn't want to have the continual pain and horrific migraines that I was having. So when you understand that your body needs these living things, whether it's water, food, and to limit the chemicals, limit the dyes, limit the things that are toxic in your body, then you give your body, you're being loving to your body, and you give your body a wonderful opportunity to thrive. And it can heal from really anything if we give it the right environment. And that goes to what I love Lori said about thanking her liver, thanking her heart, thank your body. Go through, be grateful for your body, no matter what it looks like today, no matter if it's not where you want it to be. Thank it for getting you to this point, for getting you this far. And you can change. All you have to do is decide and focus on the positive, healthy, not toxic things, the living things to put into your body. Love it, thank it, appreciate it. So we just have a minute before we got to sign off. So last parting words, Lori, and then you have to come back again soon.
I would love to. I mean, this just fills me. It fills my soul. Like, I love to have these conversations. I mean, I just love you, adore you. We have the best conversations. Your community is amazing. Everyone here is amazing. Thank you for having me. I feel very blessed to be here, and it inspires me to be here. So thank you for letting me share my heart and my passion. So parting words, this just was a reminder the other day. So I have a granddaughter who's 3. She weighs about 30 pounds. And this story will have a parting, I promise it will have a point. But so I was visiting her, and I squatted down on the ground to be at her level padding. And she said, hold me, Lolo. She calls me Lolo. So I scooped her up in a squatting position, fully squatted position, right? And I stood straight up with her in my arms, 30-pound granddaughter, right? And in that moment at 54, I thought to myself, thank you, God. Thank you, body. Thank you that at 54, I have no pain. I can squat down fully, butt on the ground, knees completely bent on my feet. Straight up. And
I love it.
That's the reason I bring that up is because a week before I had been listening to someone who I love dearly, who's younger than I am, say that they were on the floor and they were kind of laughing about it and they couldn't get themselves back up. So people are not sitting down playing with their grandkids or their pets, or they're keeping themselves from doing other things because their body has gotten to the point where it literally just doesn't have the strength, the hydration, the healthy tissues, muscles, cellular function. And then that affects you emotionally, spiritually, and mentally if you don't feel strong enough to be able to do that. Right? So
we have to go, Lori. I'm sorry. I have to cut you off. We're out of time.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone. Join me next week with Angel. Love to you all.